A tax-exempt money-making scheme operating under royal protection. This seems to be the case in the UK, where an estate owned by the heir to the throne, Prince Charles, has been enjoying tax breaks for decades. But as RT's Polly Boiko reports, the royal finances are now drawing more suspicion than ever.
He's keen to project himself as a thoroughly modern prince, but medieval habits are hard to shift. Thanks to 14th century law, to this day the heir to the British throne is exempt from paying tax. Prince Charles has volunteered to pay income tax since 1993, but he doesn't pay corporation or capital gains tax on his Duchy of Cornwall estate.
Essentially, the Duchy is a property company. That's what it comes down to. So it has a whole bunch of property interests, which is fine. So maybe, it owns a Holiday Inn in Reading, which no doubt it rents out and gets rent. I mean, property companies do that. The point is, no other property company has an exemption from the law like the Duchy. It
may have been established over 700 years ago, but the Duchy of Cornwall is a modern-day money-making machine. It's worth £762 million. It owns 131,000 acres of land and rents out 3,500 individual lettings.
It's like a business empire, like many of the other big estates. The Duke of Westminster's got a big one in London. But I mean, the Duke of Westminster, I'm sure he pays taxes.
Those campaigning for greater transparency of Prince Charles's tax affairs say that unlike multinational corporations such as Google, Amazon and Starbucks, Prince Charles doesn't need a complex web of offshore companies to avoid paying tax. Thanks to his title of Duke of Cornwall, he's simply entitled to not pay.
There are various acts of Parliament which say that these acts apply to the Duchy, but if the Duchy breaks them, that is not an offence, it's not a crime. This is utterly, in this day and age, completely grotesque.
The Duchy estate strongly denies any kind of tax avoidance. But the Prince's tax affairs have been coming under increasing scrutiny. Last year, here in Westminster, MPs quizzed the Duke of Cornwall's personal aid over the Duchy's profits and why they're not subject to tax. Now, a new bill being put through the House of Lords is campaigning to strip Prince Charles of his privileges. The idea is radical and not likely to be passed. So for now, as the old saying goes, there's nothing more certain than death and taxes, unless you're the Prince of Wales, in which case only one of those applies. Polly Boiko, RT, London.